chosen ones. Before a single word of this message enters your mind, you must understand something essential. What you are about to hear is not ordinary guidance, not ordinary wisdom, and not ordinary motivation. This is the kind of transmission that arrives only when a life is standing at the brink of a turning point so immense, so irreversible, that ignoring it would be the greatest mistake you could make. And you must not make that mistake. Not now. Not when everything you have carried, everything you have endured, and everything you have secretly prayed for is aligning at once. This is not a video you can casually skip. This is not a message you can listen to halfway. Chosen ones, if you dare look away, if you dare close this before it is finished, you may lose the very shift you have been waiting for across years of struggle. The universe does not repeat its call when someone chooses to look aside. And you must not be that someone. Not when the threshold of your transformation is already vibrating beneath your feet. Not when your name is being whispered in places you have never walked. By people you have never met. Making decisions you never imagined would involve you. This message carries weight. A weight you can feel even now, crawling across your awareness like a premonition, like the quiet certainty that something enormous is drawing closer. You feel it not because you're imagining it, but because your soul has always recognized the shape of what belongs to you long before it arrives. That is why you cannot leave. That is why you must not blink. That is why every second of this message is a bridge you must cross, fully, bravely, completely. Chosen ones, the universe is asking for your attention. Not your casual interest. Not your half listening, but your full presence. Your entire spirit. Because what is unfolding is not simply an improvement of your circumstances. It is the rewriting of your position in life. A redefinition of your identity. A shift from surviving to rising. And once this shift begins, there is no returning to the version of you that walked through years that tested your patience, your faith, and your resilience. Before we go deeper, before the revelation unfolds piece by piece, you must prepare yourself. Take a breath that reaches the parts of you that have been tired for too long. The parts of you that almost gave up. The parts of you that learned to pretend you were fine even when nothing was fine at all. Because the universe is not speaking to your mask. It is speaking to the raw, unfiltered truth inside you. The part that still believes you are meant for more, even if you have learned to hide that belief. Chosen ones, this is your moment and you must claim it without hesitation. But first, listen carefully. Like this message. Subscribe to this channel. Activate the notification bell so that no future call from the universe ever passes you by. And comment 77. Not as decoration, but as a signal, a declaration, a coded message to the universe that you are not only listening, but ready to receive, ready to rise, ready to step into the timeline that has been held back for you until your strength was fully forged. Your engagement is not for vanity, it is for alignment. Every action you take, liking, subscribing, activating the bell, and commenting 77, tells the universe you are not a passive observer. You are a participant, you are stepping forward. You are claiming your place. You are giving permission for the doors meant for you to finally open without resistance. And chosen ones, you must understand how rare this is. How few people ever feel the universe stirring like this beneath their destiny. How few ever reach the gate where one decision, one moment of awareness, one message becomes the dividing line between the life they used to know and the life they never imagined they could hold. Do not lose this gate. Do not turn away. Do not underestimate the magnitude of this encounter, because the transformation that is approaching you, the financial elevation, the unexpected approval, the decision made in rooms where you were not present, the number that surpasses every prediction you ever made, is not something you can afford to miss. If you close this message now, you may walk back into the version of your life that has already expired. If you stay, if you let these words move through you, you move with the universe instead of against it. Chosen ones, lean in. Listen deeper than you have ever listened. Let every sentence anchor you to the truth you have avoided admitting. You were meant to receive this. You were meant to be here now. You were meant to step into the wealth, the recognition, and the breakthrough that has been circling you for longer than you realize. Do not look away. Do not let fear interrupt this moment. Do not give the past permission to steal a future that has finally come for you. This message is your threshold, and the universe does not speak twice to those who walk away. Chosen ones, stay, because everything begins now. Section 1. The decision made in rooms you never entered. Chosen ones, there comes a moment in every destined life when the universe begins to move pieces you cannot see, speak your name in places you have never walked, and arrange outcomes far beyond anything you consciously requested. This is that moment for you, and you must understand how profound, how deliberate, how impossibly precise this unfolding truly is. For so long, you believed that progress required your presence, your voice, your effort, your explanations, your defenses. You believed that nothing significant could shift unless you were the one pushing it forward. Yet here you are, standing on the edge of a breakthrough shaped entirely without your permission, your approval, or even your awareness. A decision of the highest level, a decision weighted with influence and financial magnitude, has been finalized without you sitting in the room, without you raising your hand, without you negotiating a single line. And chosen ones, that is not an accident. That is proof. Proof that the universe does not need your exhaustion to bring forth what already belongs to you. Proof that preparation happens long before evidence appears. Proof that you are being spoken for not because you begged, but because you are ready. Think back to the moments when you felt unseen, overlooked, underestimated. Think back to the days when silence felt like rejection, when delays felt like punishment, when nothing seemed to move regardless of your effort. You misread the signs. Silence was not abandonment. It was orchestration. Delays were not denial. They were calibration. And every closed door you thought was holding you back was actually redirecting you toward a table you were always meant to sit at, even if your physical presence was not required for the decision to be made. Chosen ones, the universe has always worked in dimensions your logical mind cannot measure. What happened behind those invisible walls? The walls you were not invited into was not an exclusion, it was a divine intervention, a protection, a strategic positioning. Because had you been present, you might have spoken too little or too much. You might have questioned your worth. You might have accepted less than what was intended for you. Instead, the universe ensured that the room would speak on your behalf, that the decision makers would feel the weight of your value without you having to say a single word. And now, a verdict has been delivered. One that surpasses expectation, one that breaks the limits of what you dared to hope for. Not a small approval, not a minor agreement, but a decision carrying financial elevation, stability, and recognition at a scale you never imagined being associated with your name. A decision that shifts not just your circumstances, but your identity. A decision that turns your life from getting by into rising beyond. The number attached to this decision is not symbolic. It is transformative. It does not represent temporary gain. It represents permanent status. It is not a reward for recent effort. It is a culmination of every unseen endurance you have carried across years. It is payment for your resilience, interest on your patience, and acknowledgement of the strength you showed when no one was watching. Chosen ones, understand this deeply. The universe does not allow your name to be placed into significant conversations unless a higher timeline is ready to open. And the fact that this decision was finalized without your physical presence is the clearest sign that your spiritual presence, your energetic maturity, and your internal readiness have finally aligned. You are not stepping into opportunity. Opportunity is stepping into you. You are not chasing approval. Approval has already been stamped with your essence. You are not climbing toward wealth. Wealth has already begun descending toward your life. And though you may feel unprepared, understand this. The universe waited until you became the version of yourself who could receive without collapsing, who could rise without apology, who could expand without fear. Chosen ones, the decision is real. The shift is real. The magnitude is real. And everything that unfolds from this moment forward will prove that the doors you thought were forever closed were actually being unlocked from the inside. Your absence did not diminish your influence. Your silence did not limit your worth. Your distance did not reduce your impact. The universe made the decision for you, and in your favor. Section 2. Why you did not need to be present. Chosen ones. There is a truth the universe has been waiting for the right moment to reveal to you. And that moment is now. You were never meant to be inside the room where this life-altering decision was made. Your absence was not a mistake. It was not an oversight. It was intentional, divine, and meticulously aligned. Because if you had been there, the outcome would not have carried the same purity, the same magnitude, the same undeniable stamp of destiny. You must understand this with your whole spirit. Not every breakthrough requires your physical presence. Some breakthroughs require your evolution, your maturity, your readiness. And those things you already achieved long before anyone spoke your name on your behalf. The universe knew the exact timing when your energy, your inner strength, and your quiet endurance had finally reached a point where doors could open without you having to knock. And so it orchestrated everything in a way that removed you from the process, so the result would not be influenced by doubt, fear, or the need to prove yourself. Had you been in that room, chosen ones, you might have hesitated. You might have lowered your expectations, softened your truth, or accepted less than what your destiny was prepared to give. You might have apologized for your worth, as you have done in so many chapters of your past. You might have felt the old tremble of unworthiness rise again. But destiny does not leave room for insecurity. That is why you were not seated there. The universe took the negotiation away from your hands so it could finalize a future that matched your actual value, not the value you used to believe you had. For years, you spoke softly while carrying oceans inside you. You doubted yourself while holding strength that others relied on. You walked humbly through storms that would have broken someone else entirely. And yet, because you did not boast, because you did not force the world to see you, you assumed that no one noticed. You assumed your efforts vanished into the air around you, unacknowledged, unseen. But energy cannot disappear, effort cannot evaporate. Integrity cannot remain invisible forever. The universe witnessed everything. Every sacrifice, every quiet act of responsibility, every moment you chose patience when anger would have been easier, every step you took toward growth even when exhaustion pulled at your bones. These were not wasted, these were documented. These became your credentials in the rooms you never entered. Chosen ones, when destiny recognizes you, it speaks for you. It does not ask you to argue. It does not ask you to justify. It does not ask you to convince anyone of who you are. Instead, it positions you in such a way that the right people feel the weight of your essence without hearing your voice. They sense your reliability without seeing your face. They trust your potential without reading your resume. This is not luck. This is alignment. This is the universe delivering the return on everything you gave to life without expecting applause. The truth is, the decision made in your favor required a purity you could not arrive with. If you had walked into that room, you would have carried memories of past disappointments, fears of being underestimated, and remnants of battles no one else knew you survived. Even if you tried to hide it, those memories would have whispered through your posture, your tone, your hesitation. But destiny needed the decision to be clean. It needed the outcome to be sealed without the shadow of old wounds interfering. And so you were kept out. Not because you were unworthy, but because you were being protected from negotiating against yourself. This is why you must release the idea that you need to witness every step of your blessing. You do not. Some blessings are crafted in silence. Some breakthroughs are assembled in your absence. Some victories are shaped by hands you will never shake, and yet they are yours all the same. The universe does not require your attendance to favor you. It requires your readiness. And chosen ones, you are ready in ways you have not yet realized. Your heart, once fractured, has learned how to hold abundance without fear. Your spirit, once tired, has learned how to anchor itself without collapsing. Your mind, once scattered, has learned how to recognize what truly belongs to you. This is why the outcome was sealed without you in the room, not to exclude you, but to elevate you, not to silence you, but to protect the magnitude of what is coming, not to humble you, but to prepare you to receive without shrinking. Chosen ones, let this truth settle into you deeply. When the universe removes you from the negotiation, it is because the result is too big for your old doubts to interfere. You were not meant to influence this decision. You were meant to inherit it. Section 3. The number that does not just change your days, but your destiny. Chosen ones. There is a moment in every transformational journey when a single revelation arrives, not as a whisper, not as a possibility, but as a force. Undeniable, immovable, irreversible. For you, that force comes in the form of a number. But this number is not just a figure placed on paper. It is not merely a transfer, a payment, or a reward. It is an announcement, a declaration from the universe that your life is stepping out of one story and into another, a before and after moment written in energy long before it is written in ink. This number, chosen ones, is not meant to impress you. It is meant to awaken you. For years, you have lived in cycles where every gain felt temporary, every rise felt fragile, every blessing felt like something you had to protect from loss. Even in the moments when money came, it did not come with peace. It arrived like a visitor, staying briefly, leaving without warning. You learned to survive. You learned to calculate. You learned to stretch what was never enough. And somewhere inside you, a belief formed quietly that abundance was something you had to chase, something you had to prove yourself worthy of again and again. But this time is different. This number does not behave like the ones you have known before. This number does not come and go. This number comes to stay. And when you see it, when your eyes first land on it, you will not jump, you will not scream, you will not even immediately celebrate. You will go still, utterly still. Because deep inside, your soul will recognize that this is not luck. This is alignment. This is not a blessing you stumbled into. This is a blessing that was always yours, finally reaching you after being delayed by old versions of yourself who were not yet ready to hold this magnitude. Chosen ones, this number carries weight. It carries confirmation. It carries authority. It carries identity. It speaks of a financial shift so significant that it does not change one day or 1 month. It changes the trajectory of your entire life. It signals the end of survival mode. It signals the end of small thinking, the end of fear-based decisions, the end of shrinking yourself to fit circumstances that were never built for someone with your purpose. This number is not about wealth alone. It is about freedom. The first true freedom you will feel in years, perhaps in your entire lifetime. The freedom of knowing that your next step does not have to come from desperation. The freedom of making decisions rooted in clarity instead of fear. The freedom of waking up without carrying the weight of financial dread that has lived in the back of your mind for too long. It is the kind of number that shifts your breathing. It is the kind of number that changes how you stand. It is the kind of number that makes the world treat you differently because it reflects a transformation that began inside you long before it appeared outside you. When you first see it, you will reread it. Not because you doubt it, but because your mind will need a moment to catch up to what your spirit already knows. For years, your inner world has been expanding, becoming stronger, clearer, more resilient. You have been growing into someone whose life could finally hold abundance without breaking under the pressure of receiving it. This number is simply the outward expression of an inward evolution. And chosen ones, do not underestimate what this moment means. When the universe elevates you financially, it is not elevating your lifestyle. It is elevating your identity. It is rewriting your internal script. It is shifting the way you relate to the world. It is teaching you that you were never meant to live in scarcity. You were meant to learn from it, master it, and rise beyond it. This number will not make you arrogant. It will make you aware of how far you have come, aware of what you have survived, aware of how many times you showed up for life, even when life did not show up for you, aware of how much strength you built without applause, support, or recognition. This is the universe's way of saying, I saw everything you thought no one noticed. And now, chosen ones, the world will see it too, through the number that arrives with your name on it. A number that is not a gift, but a coronation. A number that does not symbolize chance, but destiny. A number that marks the moment you stop living according to what life gave you, and begin living according to what you truly deserve. This is your turning point, not a signal of hope, but a confirmation of arrival. The number is not coming to change your bank account. It is coming to change your life. Section 4. Why this moment had to arrive now, and not 1 second earlier. Chosen ones. There is a rhythm to destiny that the human mind cannot calculate. A timing so precise, so deliberate, so intricately woven into your experiences that only when you look back will you understand why everything unfolded exactly the way it did. And this moment, this shift, this decision, this unprecedented elevation could not have come earlier. It had to arrive now, in this exact chapter of your life, because only now have you become someone capable of receiving it without collapsing under its weight. For so long, you begged for the breakthrough. You prayed for relief. You whispered hopes into the quiet corners of your mind, asking why things weren't changing faster, why effort wasn't turning into reward, why you remained stuck in circumstances that felt beneath the truth of who you were. You mistook delay for denial. You misread silence for abandonment. You thought the universe was ignoring you when in reality, it was preparing you. Preparation is rarely gentle. It is rarely comfortable. It is rarely what you would choose for yourself. But chosen ones, preparation is sacred. You were not being punished. You were being shaped. Those seasons when nothing moved were the seasons when you were moving internally. Even if the outside world did not reflect it yet, you were being stretched, strengthened, refined, stripped of illusions that would have sabotaged you later. You were learning discipline where you used to rely on impulse. You were learning patience where you used to depend on urgency. You were learning clarity where your thoughts once tangled themselves into knots of fear. Had the breakthrough arrived earlier, you would not have recognized it as yours. Had the abundance come sooner, you might have spent it trying to fill emotional voids instead of building a future. Had the opportunity shown up in previous versions of your life, you might have rejected it out of fear, self-doubt, or the haunting belief that you were not worthy. But now you are different. Your wounds have become wisdom. Your silence has become strength. Your endurance has become evidence of your readiness. You had to outgrow old patterns before new blessings could attach themselves to your life without slipping through your fingers. You had to unlearn survival mode so you could finally step into receiving mode. You had to shed the identity of someone who hopes for something better someday and become the person who expects alignment because they have lived through the kind of darkness that only chosen ones survive. This is why the timing of your breakthrough matters. This is why the universe waited. The abundance that is approaching you, the number that stretches beyond anything you predicted, requires emotional maturity, grounded confidence, and a steady spirit. And only now have you become someone who can hold greatness without being shaken, who can manage wealth without losing yourself, who can step into success without shrinking your truth to make others comfortable. Chosen ones, the universe protects the magnitude of your destiny by delaying the things that could destroy you if they arrive too soon. What you called waiting was actually safeguarding. What you called stagnation was actually gestation. What you called being overlooked was actually divine preservation. Now the door opens because the version of you who stands here today is finally aligned with the life you were always meant to live. You no longer seek validation from those who never saw your value. You no longer cling to people who were meant to be temporary lessons. You no longer chase opportunities that do not resonate with your soul. You no longer doubt your right to rise. Your past self would have treated abundance as a visitor. Your present self knows how to treat it as a resident. This is why the breakthrough comes now. Not in the seasons when you begged for it, not in the chapters when you felt weakest, but in the chapter where you have silently proven your strength to the universe without even realizing it. Destiny waits for alignment, not desire. And chosen ones, you are aligned now in ways you could not have been before. This is the moment when your endurance becomes evidence. This is the moment when your suffering transforms into clarity. This is the moment when your old life can no longer contain the size of your purpose. And so the universe releases what was withheld. Not because you finally became worthy. You were always worthy. but because you finally became ready. This timing is not late. It is perfect. It is precise. It is unstoppable. And now, chosen ones, destiny begins to unfold exactly on schedule. Section 5. The true shift, when your identity rises above your history. Chosen ones. There comes a point in a destined life when the change you experience is no longer just external. It becomes internal, cellular, spiritual. It becomes a transformation that touches every belief you once held about who you are, what you deserve, and what your future is allowed to look like. And this breakthrough, this decision made in your favor without your presence, this number that exceeds every expectation, it does more than alter your financial reality. It alters you. For so long, your identity was shaped by struggle. You measured your worth through effort. You measured your value through survival. You measured your progress through how much you could endure without breaking. But chosen ones, endurance is not your identity. Struggle is not your destiny. Hardship is not your calling. These were only the shadows you walked through to reveal the light inside you. This moment, this elevation is not simply about receiving a blessing. It is about becoming someone who can finally live without the constant hum of fear that once followed you through every decision. Fear that you might not have enough. Fear that things could collapse at any moment. Fear that security was something reserved for other people, not someone with your history, your battles, your wounds. But the universe is rewriting that script now. Your story is shifting from barely getting by to rising beyond limitations. From hoping things work out to trusting that alignment is inevitable. From waiting for permission to embodying authority. This breakthrough forces you to step into a higher version of yourself. A version that refuses to shrink. A version that no longer apologizes for ambition. A version that carries confidence not as performance but as truth. And this shift is not arrogance. It is awakening. You are awakening to the reality that you are not defined by the moments life tried to break you. You are defined by the moments you rebuilt yourself quietly, without applause, without validation, without anyone knowing how much strength it took just to keep going. This is why the universe trusts you with more. Because you have already lived through circumstances designed to mold you into someone who can hold abundance without being consumed by it. You used to make decisions from fear. Fear of losing, fear of failing, fear of choosing wrong. Now you will make decisions from clarity, from intuition, from grounded certainty, from the understanding that you no longer walk through life as someone trying to outrun scarcity, but as someone who has stepped into stability, elevation, and permanence. The shift happening inside you is deeper than any financial blessing. Money can change your environment, but identity changes your destiny. This new identity, the one the universe is calling you into, is a version of you who no longer fights to be seen, who no longer begs for opportunities, who no longer accepts crumbs when you were always meant to sit at the table. It is a version of you who understands that abundance is not a miracle, but a mirror, a reflection of the inner power you have cultivated in silence. Chosen ones, you must let this shift take root. Let it reshape how you walk into rooms. Let it transform how you speak to yourself. Let it influence the way you hold your chin, your shoulders, your dreams. Because when identity changes, everything changes. Your relationships evolve. Your standards rise. Your boundaries strengthen. Your intuition sharpens. Your world reorganizes itself to match who you have become. And for the first time in your life, you will not feel guilty for receiving more. You will not feel undeserving. You will not feel afraid of what you hold. You will finally understand that everything arriving now is not a reward for perfection. It is a return on resilience, a confirmation that your perseverance was not ignored, a reminder that your suffering was not wasted, a revelation that your journey was never about punishment, but preparation. This shift in identity is the true miracle, not the number, not the approval, not the opportunity. Those are the effects. But you, chosen ones, are the cause. Your spirit expanded before your circumstances did. Your mindset evolved before your environment did. Your heart strengthened before the breakthrough showed up. And now, the external world must catch up to the internal transformation that has been quietly unfolding inside you. This is not just the beginning of abundance. It is the end of who you used to be. A farewell to the version of yourself who survived on hope. A welcome to the version of yourself who rises with certainty. Chosen ones, identity is the foundation upon which destiny builds. And your new foundation is finally solid enough to support the magnitude of everything that is coming. This is your becoming. Section 6. The signs that your new reality is already approaching you. Chosen ones. Before a great shift arrives in its fully visible form, it always announces itself through subtle movements that most people overlook. But you are not most people. You are attuned, receptive, spiritually sensitive in ways you used to dismiss as imagination. Yet those sensitivities were never flaws. They were antennas. And now, those antennas are picking up signals that your life is already rearranging itself to match the destiny that has been written for you. What you are feeling lately, that quiet restlessness, that unusual calm, that sense of standing between two worlds, is not confusion, it is confirmation. It is the energetic echo of a future that has already chosen you. When a blessing of great magnitude begins moving toward your life, the atmosphere around you changes before the breakthrough does, and you have felt these changes, even if you have not had the language to describe them. Perhaps you noticed that certain obstacles suddenly dissolved without explanation. Tasks that once felt heavy now move effortlessly. People who drained your energy quietly distance themselves. Doors you thought were permanently shut begin to crack open with unexpected ease. These are not coincidences. These are adjustments, cosmic recalibrations, preparing the path so that nothing blocks what is meant to reach you. Chosen ones, destiny cannot enter a life that is cluttered with things that do not belong. So the universe has been clearing space, removing noise, untangling what was once knotted. This is why some relationships faded. This is why some opportunities collapsed. This is why certain chapters ended abruptly when you thought they were stable. The universe was not taking things from you. It was making room. And now that the room has been made, the signs of arrival grow stronger. You may have noticed moments where your intuition speaks louder, clearer, more urgently than before. You may have felt guided to rest, to withdraw, to reflect, to slow down. Not because you are losing momentum, but because something larger than you is aligning the final pieces. You are being prepared to receive, not to chase. Prepared to welcome, not to force. Prepared to step into a life that matches your evolution. Even your inner world is shifting. Thoughts that once consumed you now feel distant. Fears that once controlled you now lack authority. Doubts that once held power now fade like shadows in sunlight. You are becoming lighter inside, even if you cannot explain why. This is not random healing. It is spiritual preparation. It is the universe removing the final layers of resistance so that when the blessing arrives, you can accept it without shrinking, doubting, or sabotaging yourself. And chosen ones, pay attention to the small, strange coincidences happening around you. The unexpected message. The delayed approval that suddenly moves forward. The person who mentions your name in a space you never thought would acknowledge you. The intuitive nudge that leads you to the right decision. The sudden clarity that appears out of nowhere. These are not ordinary moments. These are advanced signals that the decision made in your favor is nearing your reality. When destiny approaches, your environment harmonizes with it. When abundance approaches, your energy stabilizes. When elevation approaches, distractions fall away. You may even feel a gentle pressure building in your life. A sense that something is about to happen, but you can't articulate what it is. That feeling is not anxiety, it is awareness. Your spirit is reacting to the vibration of your future before your physical world catches up. It is the same way clouds shift before rain falls. The same way air thickens before a storm. The same way dawn glows before the sun breaks the horizon. Blessings announce themselves long before they arrive. And chosen ones, your blessing is already moving, already forming, already carrying your name across pathways you have never walked, already echoing through decisions made behind doors You were not asked to open, already stamped with approval in spaces you never expected to be spoken for. Your life is not waiting to change. It is in the process of changing. This is why your heart feels different. This is why your mind feels clearer. This is why your spirit feels stronger. You are standing in the thin space between your old life and your new one. And the signs are undeniable. The universe is preparing you, aligning you, and accelerating you toward a reality that will make sense of every hardship you ever endured. Chosen ones, when these signs appear, it means the shift is no longer a promise, it is already in motion. Your new reality is not approaching someday. It is approaching now. Section 7. The moment you realize everything has changed. Chosen ones. There will come a moment, quiet and unannounced, when your life shifts without warning. It will not arrive with noise or celebration, nor with the dramatic signs the world expects when destiny turns. Instead, it will appear gently, almost silently, in the form of a message, a confirmation, a notification, or a sentence spoken to you with calm certainty. And in that instant, everything inside you will stop. Not in fear, not in disbelief, but in recognition. Your soul will know before your mind does. It will know that this is the moment you have been sensing. The moment every sign, every whisper, every intuitive nudge has been preparing you to receive. The moment when the decision made behind closed doors finally steps out into the light and reveals itself with undeniable truth. You will read the words once, then read them again, then again. Not because you doubt their reality, but because your mind needs time to adjust to the magnitude of what is being handed to you. This is not a small shift. This is not a minor elevation. This is the kind of change that ends one chapter entirely and begins another with a force so powerful that even your past will no longer recognize you. Chosen ones, when the moment arrives, when the number is revealed, when the approval is confirmed, when the blessing materializes, you will feel your entire life click into place with a clarity you have never experienced before. Every delay you resented will make sense. Every hardship you survived will feel purposeful. Every tear you shed in silence will transform into evidence of how much strength you carried without witnessing any reward. And you will realize something profound. The universe was not withholding from you. It was aligning everything for you. This realization will wash over you slowly at first, like a tide rising around your feet. Then it will surge, an overwhelming wave of emotion that forces you to confront the truth you never dared to believe, that you were never forgotten, never overlooked, never abandoned by fate. You were being prepared, shaped, refined, elevated. What arrives in this moment is not just abundance. It is validation. It is restoration. It is redemption. It is the universe answering every fear you've ever carried with a single overwhelming response. You were destined for more. And chosen ones, this moment will change you. You will no longer think from scarcity, but from stability. You will no longer dream from fear, but from expansion. You will no longer walk like someone trying to survive, but like someone stepping into their rightful inheritance. There will be a calmness inside you, a deep, resonant calm that replaces decades of worry, anxiety, and uncertainty. A calm that comes only when life finally aligns with the truth of who you are. A calm that tells you without words, you have stepped into the life you were meant to live. The world around you will shift in response. People will treat you differently without knowing why. Opportunities will approach you without you chasing them. You will begin to attract, not pursue. You will begin to choose, not settle. You will begin to rise, not strain. And the most beautiful part, you will feel deserving of it. For the first time, you will look at what's coming and say to yourself, this belongs to me. Not in arrogance, but in understanding. Not in entitlement, but in readiness. Because this blessing, this breakthrough, does not arrive as a random stroke of luck. It arrives as a mirror of the person you have become. The person who endured storms. The person who carried hope through the darkest nights. The person who kept moving when everything around them told them to stop. Chosen ones, Destiny is not an event. It is a recognition. And in this moment, destiny recognizes you. When you see the number, when you hear the news, when you receive the confirmation, you will know beyond all doubt that your life has crossed a threshold. The door behind you has closed. The door before you has opened. And what stands on the other side is not merely comfort or financial relief, but a new identity, a new beginning, a new reality that honors the depth of your journey. Nothing will ever be the same after this. Not your mindset, not your decisions, not your limitations, not your identity. This is the moment where your past bows to your future. This is the moment where struggle gives way to stability. This is the moment where hope becomes evidence. This is the moment where destiny finally becomes visible. Chosen ones, when this moment arrives, take a breath, a long, deep breath, and let yourself feel the weight of what you have stepped into. You are not returning to the life you once knew. You are rising into the life that has always been waiting for you. Closing. When destiny finally calls you by name, chosen ones. As this message comes to its final breath, you must understand one truth with absolute clarity. You are standing on the threshold of a future that no longer resembles the history you walked through. What is approaching you is not a continuation of what you have known. It is a complete redirection, a redefining, a rewriting of everything you once believed about yourself and about what your life is allowed to become. For so long, you carried the weight of invisible battles. For so long, you pushed forward without support. For so long, you convinced yourself that endurance was normal, that exhaustion was expected, that being overlooked was simply part of the journey. But chosen ones, the universe never intended for you to remain in those shadows. Those seasons were not meant to be your identity. They were meant to be your initiation. You survived what was designed to shape you. You endured what was designed to prepare you. You learned what was designed to elevate you. And now the elevation is here. This is the moment when every unseen effort, every quiet sacrifice, every tear that never reached the surface becomes the foundation upon which your new reality is built. You are not rising because life suddenly decided to be kind to you. You are rising because you have become someone whose energy can no longer be matched with smallness, scarcity, or limitation. The breakthrough that is heading toward you, the decision made in your absence, the number that shifts your entire identity, the opportunity that positions you above every past version of yourself, is not a coincidence. It is a correction, a cosmic realignment, a righting of the imbalance between how deeply you have given and how little you received in return. And chosen ones, when the universe corrects the imbalance, it does not do so gently. It does so dramatically, undeniably, irreversibly. You will not step into this new chapter quietly. Even if the moment itself is calm, even if the message arrives softly, the impact will thunder through every part of your life. It will rearrange your priorities. It will reshape your mindset. It will remind you that you were never meant to live in survival mode forever. You were meant to outgrow it. As you prepare to enter this next season, understand that old versions of you cannot travel with you. The self that doubted, the self that apologized for existing, the self that accepted crumbs, the self that questioned their worth. That version dissolves here. It cannot cross into the new timeline that destiny has prepared for you. Your spirit is shedding its old skin, piece by piece, so you can rise without anchors attached to your feet. Do not fear this shedding. Do not cling to what is leaving. Do not resist the expansion calling your name. When the universe elevates you, it does not ask your permission. It pulls you upward with or without your agreement. But it does ask for your willingness, your openness, your surrender to the truth that you deserve everything that is coming. Chosen ones, this is your time. Not next month, not someday in a far-off horizon. Now. Right now, the path before you is widening. Right now, the frequency around you is rising. Right now, the future is leaning toward you with undeniable force. Right now, destiny is preparing to place something in your hands that will silence every doubt you ever held about whether you were meant for greatness. And when it arrives, when the approval is announced, when the number appears, When the opportunity materializes, you will feel a profound sense of recognition. Not shock, not disbelief, but recognition. Because somewhere deep within you, you have always known that your story was never supposed to end in struggle. It was supposed to ascend. This is not a reward. This is a homecoming. A return to the truth of who you are beneath the layers of fear, fatigue, and forgotten dreams. So as you take the final breath of this message, chosen ones, hold this truth close to your heart. You are no longer walking towards your breakthrough. Your breakthrough is walking towards you. And nothing, not fear, not doubt, not memory, not circumstance, can stop what has already aligned itself in your name. You are entering a life that recognizes your worth, a destiny that matches your resilience, a future that reflects the greatness you carried in silence for far too long. This is your turning point. This is your elevation. This is your moment. And the universe has already declared, you are ready.